WECU 1570 AM and W298BX 107.5 FM, Winterville, North Carolina. WNOS 1450 AM and W272EK 102.3 FM, licensed to New Bern, North Carolina.
Good day, everyone. Welcome to the Glenn Johnson Show, Motivations with Glenn and Apostle Jacqueline Cullns Williams. We have a very great topic of discussion today, picking back off where we left off last week. We were talking about cayenne pepper. Then we had a caller call in about black pepper. So we want to start today with mentioning black pepper and the origin of black pepper. Like our caller explained to us last week, black peppers originated in India. So we do have a document indicating that fact. Here's Apostle Jacqueline Cullns Williams.
Hey, Dr. Glenn, and to our listening audience on today, we are so glad to be here, and we are excited about these subjects. And, I know, Dr. Glenn, it seems like I'm starting out every show with a few little questions, and that one came up about the black pepper, because I think a lot of times we see things in our environment, we have no clue. We just start using it, and we have no clue. Dr. Glenn?
Well, like I said, I do listen to Awesome Radio, in particular to the news and agriculture, what does that matter to me, prior to getting to the station, because the ladies were talking about a lot of important things. Today, I was listening to the show, they were talking about meat that was recalled. But I recalled one other broadcast where they were talking about food that's beneficial for relieving stress. So we will have a cliffhanger probably on that next week. Food that relieves stress.
Food that relieves stress.
Yeah,
and I'm sure there's a lot of food that relieves stress, but I'd like to leave a cliffhanger too.
Good.
Because I brought another question today.
What is
but
it?
let's finish. We'll do
Well,
the next question. You want to do the question first?
I want to know what it is.
Okay. Well, I have been wondering, and we will get into the black pepper and talk about it and bring that out, the facts that we found out about the black pepper. I had a question, and this has just been on my mind for a couple of weeks because of where I actually work. I work where I can see out of some of the windows, and there's a lot of birds that are here in the city. And my question is, I'm wondering if they are coming back from south for the winter, or are they on the way? What's going on? I don't know their migration pattern.
They're on the way because
They're on the way south for the winter?
because it's warmer.
Or that you think they're coming back. It's getting ready to be spring, so I'm wondering if they already been for the winter and they're coming back.
It's a possibility, but if they're heading towards the south, it's because they're seeking warmer weather, warmer climate.
Right. I know why they're going, but I don't know if they're going or coming right now. And then I need to know, okay, so if they're coming back from the winter, because that meant they would have went, earlier, like maybe October. Maybe they're on the way back because it's getting ready to be spring. What are they going to do now? It's getting ready to snow. Maybe they should have waited a couple of other weeks.
They'll probably start heading back.
Yeah, before they started coming back. But I could see that some of them are huge. It's like they have been eating well. They're big. So I'm thinking that they're on the way back, that they've already been down to a plentiful place where there was a lot of food and they're fat.
Yeah, that's true too. That's possible because although they know it's beginning to change, they might be arriving early. So
yeah, and that could definitely be so. But I'm telling you, Dr. Glenn, I looked out yesterday, and the way that flock of birds, I mean, it was so many of them. I'm talking about at least thousands. And they all took flight at one time and made a big U-turn and went back and sat down in the same place. And I was like, wow. I was just amazed at how many birds I saw out there.
But before we continue, that is a good question because, we need to find that out because I know they're probably not heading north because they know north is extremely cold in the summer or in winter.
Yes, so we'll find out. I think it's a very interesting question.
It is.
I've been wondering for a few years. since I've been here, and I've seen this migration year after year. But I'd like to know, whether they're going or they're coming. We're going to come out
Well, we'll
back
do
next
some.
week with a little bit of research on
Yeah,
it.
we'll do some research on it. But if there's a listener that's listening that might have an answer to the question, please don't hesitate to call 252 756 2008. And the alternative, you can email me at Glenn, Glenn Johnson Show at gmail.com. And we'll make it a part of the next week's discussion.
And Dr. Glenn, I want to say to our caller, who came in last week and just told us all about the pepper, I bet you don't know about those birds.
He probably does.
Don't Google it. So we want to talk a little bit, and I'm making sure that I did due diligence to go and look up some things, especially after looking and seeing that I did not know about black pepper. And I know, listen, Dr. Glenn, I don't feel that bad about it, because I know a lot of people that don't know. They just use it because that's what our mothers use. That's what we always saw them put salt and pepper on the food. We don't know why. We're just doing it because that's how we were raised. I didn't know where the pepper came from, but I did go look it up. And I want to say this that I learned when I was look, there go I bet he calling about those birds. Okay,
I
Dr.
hope
Glenn.
so. We have a caller. We have a caller calling. Caller, you're live on the air.
Yeah, I'm the black pepper caller.
Oh, thank you.
Look, he ready with
No,
those
actually-
birds, Dr. Glenn.
Actually, I do know about the birds.
You do. Let's hear it.
Yeah, I don't know what kind she saw, but if they were blackbirds,
No, it's like the white seagulls.
the what kind?
They almost look like seagulls. They're white.
Okay, because I was told a long time ago that they were called snowbirds. That when you see a group of them like that, the snow is not far behind.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Yeah, that's
They're
what I heard.
They're called
But,
snowbirds.
As for actual fact, I don't know, but that's what I've heard.
That's right, Apostle. They're called snowbirds, just like you said, because they're white. If you see those flock of them together, that means the snow is not far away.
Wow.
Right. Yes, sir.
Wow.
Okay,
To our
then,
caller, I
I'll
want
let
to say
y'all-
thank you so much for telling us. I know, I'm not from this region, so I don't know everything about it, but that's a good thing. We're going to look that up, and I could see how that could have some truth to it, because they're saying that it's going to snow this weekend.
Okay. All right, I'm waiting to hear about the black pepper now and see what's all right.
All right, thank you for calling, sir. Thank you very much.
All right. Y'all be blessed.
All right, to our caller, thank you so much for calling in. That's the pepper guy from last week, and now he's trying to outdo me with the birds.
You did say it. You did say our show was not the pepper guy. Sure enough, it was the pepper guy. That's what we're going to refer to him as now from now on.
Yeah, the pepper
guy.
Yes. So, hey, pepper guy, thank you so much for calling in, and thanks for that information about the snow. And listen, we just like to have some laughs over here. We're gonna laugh over here.
But Apostle, I want to tell you this. While we get into the black pepper, there's some black pepper health benefits and side effects. Also, there's black pepper benefits for female and black pepper benefits for male.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying, Dr. Glenn. I did not know health benefits. I only thought that black pepper was there for taste.
Yeah.
And I just never thought about the fact that, last week when I said out loud that who's growing black pepper?
We got about 1 minute before we go to the first break, but we'll continue for the next minute, Apostle.
Yeah, so Dr. Glenn, I wanted to say this because I did go and look it up and look up a few things about the black pepper. And one of the reasons that we don't grow it here in the U.S. is because it needs a more tropical climate. It cannot grow here in the U.S. like it does in those other countries. That's why we get it from India, and we don't see anybody, and we never grew up knowing that anybody grew black pepper. We don't have the climate for it.
So it's probably 100% certain that black pepper is imported from India. Is that correct?
India and other places.
And any other places?
Yes, so they have a more tropical climate in those countries than we have here.
Could I ask a question? So their soil is probably rich in nutrients and probably more moist than our climate of soil.
Definitely, but it cannot stand the cold. It cannot, and it cannot survive the cold like like we have here. We have cold fronts.
All right, we're about to go out to the first break in about 10 seconds, so we'll pick back up on black pepper, but we'll go to benefits for male and benefits for female. This is Awesome Radio, 107.5 FM, Awesome Radio. Back in a moment.
Thank you for listening to the Awesome Radio Network. Visit us online, awesomeradionetwork.org. Choose the station you would like to listen to on the radio dial or online. Awesome Radio. Warren Chapel United American Free Will Baptist Church presents Pastoral Retirement Celebration, honoring Pastor Dr. Betty Joyner Haddock, January 24th and 25th, celebrating 18 years of pastoral service. Retirement banquet Saturday, January 24th, 5 o'clock p.m. at the Greenville Convention Center. Guest speaker Sheriff Paula Dance. This is a ticketed event. Get more information at 252-320-9830. That's 252-320-9830. Then on Sunday, January 25th, 2 services, 11 a.m. and 3 o'clock p.m. Bishop James E. Tripp Jr. at 11 a.m. and at 3 o'clock p.m. Apostle Aaron McNair Sr. Sunday services located at 2864 Spade Seed Farm Road, Winterville. Happy retirement celebration to you, Dr. Betty Joyner Haddock. Saturday and Sunday, January 24th and 25th. Saturday is a ticketed event. Sunday, totally free. For more information about this great celebration, dial 252-320-9830. That's 252-320-9830. Warren Chapel United American Free Will Baptist Church, celebrating the retirement of Dr. Betty Joyner Haddock. Well done, good and faithful servant. Thank you for listening to the Awesome Radio Network. Visit us online, awesomeradionetwork.org. Choose the station you would like to listen to on the radio dial or online. Awesome Radio.
Thank you for keeping it locked right here to Awesome Radio, 107.5 FM, 1570 AM, WECU, Awesome Radio, and Awesome Radio Network, WNOS, 1450 AM, 102.3 FM, New Bern, WYLT slash LP 100.3, Rocky Mountain, North Carolina, WBIS slash LP 106.9 FM, Espanol, Winterville. So thank you for keeping it locked right here. We're going to continue now with black pepper, side effects and benefits for male and female. Also, I forget fail to mention, we'll then transition into Black History Month 2026. We have some interesting facts for Black History. Apostle?
Yes, so Dr. Glenn, we're going to look at the benefits for male and female, which, I've always known about salt being a benefit, but I never knew the benefits of black pepper. I just never looked it up, and I'm so glad that we are taking the time to dig into this because, as I said before we went to our break, I'm sure there's a lot of people that use black pepper, but they have no clue about the benefits or even why we're using it. It's just something that was passed down to us. So if we could look at the origins first, Dr. Glenn, before we go into the benefits for the male and female, because we know that it came from India, or even our caller, our pepper man.
Yeah, pepper man.
The pepper man told us that it came from India, and he is absolutely right. And I saw some things here that are interesting on this origin paper that said also Vietnam, Brazil, and Indonesia are also large producers of black pepper. And those environments, if you think about it, they're more tropical, jungle-like places.
And not only that, they all use a lot of spices.
They do. They use a lot of spices. And it says that the origins is from ancient times to today. It said in ancient use, it was used in India for thousands of years and traded to Egypt, where it was used in mummification and beloved by ancient Greeks and Rome. So we can see all of that, how the pepper was going from India all over the place, and to use it for mummification.
Yeah, but before you go on, I want to mention one thing. And this is on the health and benefits side effects page. It also says that medication interactions, you got to read that and see what that says. It says also black pepper, often called the king of spices, contains an active compound, piperine, which is responsible for most of its health benefits and potential side effects.
Definitely. It said also, and I flipped over there, but I'm still back on the origin page.
Okay.
It said that if you could take it in a capsule.
Yeah,
And I'm just being honest, I've never seen a black pepper capsule.
me either.
I'm not saying that it's not there. I'm just saying I've never seen it. And I mean, the world is full of things that I've never seen, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying I'm thinking about it in the grocery store that I've never seen a black pepper capsule. Maybe you may have to buy that from a health food store or somewhere, but it said that in concentrations that it can counteract and be counteractive in the body
Yeah,
if you're taking it in high concentrations. And then the thing is that you're going to have to take it in a capsule because pepper has a little spice to it. It's hot. And not only that, I'm just saying last week I was in there just sprinkling. And it is one of the things that will cause you to sneeze. You know, that powder from the pepper came up and I was sneezing so much. So it definitely has an irritant to your nose. So I can't see getting a tablespoon or a big teaspoon and just eating it.
yeah. It has an irritant to your nose, your nostrils, and your eyes.
And
Just
your
like
stomach.
salt. Just right.
And your stomach. You can't take it at high doses like that. It says, it called it on here black gold. It said its extreme value led it to be used as currency for paying for ransoms, rent, and taxes throughout history.
Throughout history.
Look, that don't work. They cut that out. I mean, where
Well, that was some time ago.
yeah, who and where? Well, I'm thinking in the biblical days, probably, because, salt and sugar and some of those things in the biblical days were valuable. So I could definitely see pepper being something that they used as money back then.
That's why I always say, tomorrow you will see something that you have never seen before.
Definitely.
Tomorrow you're going to see something you have never seen before.
And, back in the Bible days, the tithe, people, they teach on tithing and all kinds of things. Now, and I'm not going to do a Bible lesson today, but I'm just going to tell you that the tithe used to be food. They would bring food. So those are the type of things that people would tithe. They would bring, even sugar and salt and different things and tithe them and give them as their offering. So I could see pepper even being one of those things that was given as an offering.
You know what they used to use one time before? Rocks, marbles, and bottle caps.
They did. They used that as currency.
That's right, they did.
But they also used to use oil in the biblical days and certain things that were fragrant. Spices and different things. Those things were brought as offerings to the temple.
And what some countries call a shilling or chilling. Shilling, I think it is.
Yes, definitely. So how did we get to today's time where everybody has the tithe to be money?
Bring me
I
some
mean,
black
can't we
pepper.
just go back to bringing some fruit and some vegetables and some rice to the house of the Lord?
If black pepper is worth money, bring me some black pepper.
Yes, so that's what it says here. And it also talked about Vietnam here. Currently, the world's largest producer and exporter is Vietnam. And they're talking about the global supply, but to the U.S., India is the one that gives us the most pepper for the U.S.
We got 2 minutes and 2.5 minutes for this particular segment. Then we'll have our final 3 10-minute segments, but we got to get some Black history facts known to our listeners. So, with 2.5 minutes ago, Apostle.
Yeah, so health benefits. Let's look. It says that it enhances nutrient absorption. Pipeline significantly improves the availability of certain nutrients. So, most notably, it can increase the absorption of curcumin found in turmeric by up to 2,000%. It also aids in the absorption of beta carotene, psyllium, vitamin B12, and iron. It says it's a powerful antioxidant and anti-inflammatory. Black pepper is rich in antioxidants that fight the free radicals, which cause cellular damage. I bet you didn't know that. Studies suggest it may help reduce chronic inflammation linked to conditions like arthritis, heart disease, and diabetes.
Yeah. And on the female page of benefits, there's more listed, I think, than male. The male page, they're talking about a lot of sexual reproduction and all that kind of stuff.
Well,
I don't want to get into that.
Wait a minute, Dr. Glenn. Don't start these men to popping these
That's what it's
pepper
saying.
pills.
That's what it's saying. But I don't want to get into that aspect of it. But the female part has a lot of beneficial things that we should talk about.
Yes, Dr. Glenn. I am looking for the female. I do see the male.
Here you go.
Let's see.
We got 1 minute.
Yes, we have 1 minute before we go to the break. The benefits of the female, it talked about nutrient absorption and the antioxidant power, but it also supports digestive health. And hey, we're getting ready to go out on a break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the health benefits of black pepper in males versus females, or females versus males. It has a lot of benefits in the body that we had not known. Hey, you can join in with us if you want. You can call in and be live with us on the air. Just tell us that what we're telling you today is some good stuff, and maybe you just want to send a shout out on today. You can call in at 252-756-2008, and you'll be live on the air with Dr. Glenn and myself. Hey, we're looking forward to hearing from you, and we know we're giving you some information that you did not know that you've just been using all the time. Hey, we'll be right back after this break, right back in a moment.
Thank you for listening to the Awesome Radio Network. Visit us online, awesomeradionetwork.org. Choose the station you would like to listen to on the radio dial or online. Awesome Radio.
Okay, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. That didn't take long at all. So this is our final 30 minutes. I thought it was our final 20 minutes, but this is our final 30 minutes. So we're going to go right back over to Apostle Jacqueline Cullns-Williams.
Also, hey, we're so glad that you're hanging in there with us. I wanted to say, Dr. Glenn, that it said here that, and we're going to go into a little bit more depth into the male and female, but it said that black pepper is a respiratory support.
Yeah.
That acts as a natural expectorant, helping to clear mucus and relieve congestion. I want to say, Dr. Glenn, probably so too, because you're going to be sneezing, your eyes are going to be running. And when you sniff it, and it's burning your nose a little bit, your eyes are going to be running and your sinuses are going to clear out. I can see that being a respiratory support and you sneezing out some things.
Was that on the female page?
No, that's the black pepper benefits page.
Okay.
It also has a blood sugar control, that it helps you control your sugar. That's the one where it said the king of spices.
Yeah.
The black pepper benefits.
The reason why I asked that because I see that on the male benefits page also.
Yes, so there's some things that are going to cross over between the both, but I just saw that respiratory support, and it said that it also has weight management, that it will help you to lose weight. Pepperin, that's what they call it. Pepperin has thermogenic properties that may boost metabolism and assist in the fat burning process.
Yeah.
Brain health support, that it will help, and it has antibacterial action. Its natural antimicrobial properties can help fight certain infections and promote oral health.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure it helps with oral health because it's going to cause your mouth to water when you put too much of it in there.
Okay, well, Well, here's one good one for males on the male page. Quitting smoking. Inhaling vapor from black pepper oil has been shown in some studies to reduce cigarette cravings and anxiety in men attempting to quit.
Okay, I have missed that, Dr. Glenn.
That's on the male page.
It's got to be on the back then.
Yeah, it's on the second page.
Oh, yeah, I see that. Quitting smoking. Also, under there, it said, this is where it said to be careful not to take too much. Now, it said on one part that it could help with male health in the reproductive area.
Yeah.
And then now it says here that it can be counteractive if you take too much of it.
If you take too much.
And we also saw here that it can also interfere with various drugs like blood thinners or diabetes medications. So you have to watch taking it in concentrated supplements.
And let me just mention, should anybody desire to look at these documents further, please don't hesitate to email me at Glenn, Glenn, Johnson Show at gmail.com. I'll be more than happy to forward them to you. So we would like to now transition into our Black History portion, because there's definitely going to have to be a part 2 of Black History because of the documentations that we have, the audio, and its entirety of the document. So this is going to definitely have to be a part 2. If Jackie, if you're ready, we'll go to Black History.
Dr. Glenn, you got me so fast. You ain't talk about with the women that has skin and hair benefits.
Go ahead, then, real quick.
Dandruff treatment and clearing your skin. And it talked about the anti-inflammatory properties detoxify the skin for women. And I think that's important. You know, who knew that eating black pepper was going to help your skin?
That's right, yeah, it does. I'm glad you mentioned that, because, yeah, it do have some skin elements about it.
And it said dandruff treatment. Now, I don't know. I ain't never heard of such.
Well, I never had dandruff.
Well, me neither. But I'm just saying now, you know, when mixed with curd or yogurt and applied to the scalp, crushed black pepper is a traditional remedy for treating dandruff. Then I'm looking, thinking, you going to put black pepper on your scalp? Black pepper is hot. You know what I'm saying? It's got a little spice to it. I wonder if it burns the scalp or if it just tingles it.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah, I don't know. And then you got to rinse it out. You don't want that to get in your eyes. So
It'll probably burn that dandruff out of there.
Well, that's probably what it is, stimulating your scalp to do that. And it said it had a breast cancer preventative health for breast cancer potential. Now, sometimes when these articles that we read, it says potentially. So that means that it could be or could not be sometime when it says potentially. So, you know, a lot of times they promote things that may not be backed by scientific evidence.
Yeah, well, that's why sometimes when we research these documents, we always put it at the bottom of the page for informational and educational purposes only. If it's a medical thing, consult with a physician. But in this case, it's not medical, but I would advise you to consult with somebody related to that field for further information.
Definitely.
That's our disclaimer for that information.
Definitely. So Dr. Glenn has a few audios, I believe, and we're going to look at and shift over to Black History. Next month is Black History Month, and so we're getting ready to kick off with some things about Black History Month. Dr. Glenn?
I would like to first go to this 29 audio clip from the former Vice President and presidential candidate of the United States, Miss Kamala Harris, the Honorable Kamala Harris.
During Black History Month, we tell the stories of the heroes of our nation's past and of our present, leaders across our country and here in this room who shape our future. We celebrate Black history as America's history, living, breathing history that we create every day. History that must be taught in full. So let history remind us of the strength of the movements for progress and freedom in our nation. that America's most sacred principles have been realized and strengthened when we, the people, fought for them, generation after generation.
Okay, that was our former Vice President and presidential candidate of the United States, the Honorable Kamala Harris, talking about Black History Month. We have 2 minutes to go before we go to the next break, but I want to tell you that coming up after that, I would like to play an 8-minute audio clip. I like to play it in its entirety because I think it's something that all of our Americans need to know. This is a 13-year-old enslaved black girl who helped create the American flag that a lot of people are not aware of. Here's Apostle Jacqueline Cullns for the next minute.
Yes, we're going to look and talk about this and Black History Month, period, that is coming up. I was trying to see the theme for this year. Is it the theme 100 years commemorating, 100 years of celebrating Black history?
I think there's a document in your pile.
It is.
Entitled Black History Theme.
Yes. Canada's theme celebrates generations with honoring, but I'm not seeing, they have a century of Black history commemorations. That's the theme this year. We're talking about 100 years of commemorating Black history this year. This is 100 years. That's a big celebration that should be going on.
And probably by next week when we do part 2, I'll have an actual document on Black History Theme 2026.
We said that Canada's theme was honoring Black brilliance across generations. That's a powerful theme too.
Yeah.
Honoring Black brilliance. So, Dr. Glenn, we're looking at the 13-year-old Grace Wisher, who helped sew the American flag that got erased from history. And I know we're getting ready to go out on a break, and we're just going to leave you hanging on until we come right back from this break, and we're going to talk about this forgotten contribution. In history, there's a lot of things that sometimes get erased, and a lot of things that are attributed to other people that were originated through Black people, and it gets erased from history. And this is one of those things. So we're going to talk about that when we come back, this 13-year-old that helped to make the American flag. That is something.
And like I said, I have an 8-minute audio clip that I would like to play in its entirety for all of our listeners to hear, because I think it's something that all Americans should know. So keep it locked right here to Awesome Radio, to the Glenn Johnson Show, Motivation with Glenn and Apostle Jacqueline Cullns. We will be back momentarily. Back in a moment.
Awesome Radio Network is gearing up for our annual Mother's Day and Father's Day gift bag giving for the residents at McGregor Downs Health Center. $10 will sponsor one bag. If you would like to donate towards this community event, contact us 252-756-3137. And together we can show the love of Jesus, encourage and brighten the hearts of the residents during their stay at the McGregor Downs Health Center, Greenville. Donor's name, organization can be attached to the cards if desired. To learn more about this annual community event, contact us at 252-756-3137. That's 252-756-3137. We are a 501c3 organization under Community Care Fellowship, doing business as Awesome Radio Network, where God gets the glory.
Welcome back to Awesome Radio, 107.5 FM, 1570 AM, WECU. I would now like to play the audio clip, which is 8 minutes in its entirety, of the 13-year-old enslaved Black girl who helped create the American flag.
Grace Wisher, the forgotten girl behind the Star-Spangled Banner. History books often tell us that one woman, Mary Pickers Gill, sewed the great Star-Spangled Banner, flag that flew over Fort McHenry in 1814, the flag that inspired Francis Scott Key to write the words that became America's national anthem. But in truth, the making of that flag was not the work of one woman's hands alone. Among the team who stitched together its massive stripes and stars was a 13-year-old. African-American girl named Grace Wisher, and for nearly 2 centuries, her name was almost completely erased from the nation's memory. Grace Wisher was born around the year 1800 in Baltimore, Maryland, a city where slavery was still legal, but where a growing number of free black people lived and worked. Grace's mother was a free black woman, which meant Grace was also legally free. Still, freedom in early 19th century Baltimore didn't mean equality. Opportunities for education were rare, and most black children learned trades through apprenticeships. At the age of 13, Grace was bound as an indentured apprentice to Mary Pickersgill, a widowed white seamstress known for making flags, ships' colors, and military standards. Grace's apprenticeship would last 6 years, during which she would live in Pickersgill's household, learn sewing skills, and help with her business in exchange for room, board, and instruction. For a black girl in 1813, it was one of the few ways to acquire a skilled trade. But it was also a life of hard work and strict rules. In the summer of 1813, Mary Pickersgill received a large commission from Major George Armistead, the commander of Fort McHenry in Baltimore Harbor. He wanted a flag so large that the British will have no difficulty seeing it from a distance. The order called for a flag that would measure an enormous 30 feet by 40 feet, with 15 stars and 15 stripes, one for each state and each star then in the Union. Sewing such a flag was no small task. The work required yards upon yards of heavy wool bunting, thick linen thread, and long days of cutting, measuring, and hand-stitching. Pickersgill, her daughter Carolyn, her nieces, and her elderly mother all joined in. But standing beside them was Grace Wisher, her small hands pulling long seams, her needle moving with precision through coarse fabric, and her eyes straining under candlelight. For weeks, the sewing went on, so intense that some of the work had to be done in a nearby brewery's malt house because the flag was too large to spread out inside the Pickersgill home. Grace and the others pieced together massive stripes, each 2 feet wide, and stitched giant stars nearly 2 feet from point to point. In 1814, when the War of 1812 reached Baltimore and the British Navy bombarded Fort McHenry, that very flag, the one Grace had helped sew, flew over the fort throughout the night and into the morning. The sight of it, still standing after the bombardment, inspired Francis Scott Key to write the poem that would become the Star-Spangled Banner.
I'm going to have to pause that right there. We have 5 minutes before we go to the final 10-minute segment. I want to point out a couple of things before I give it over to Apostle. He mentioned a couple of things in the audio. Fort McHenry, how the British raised the American flag. When they defeated the British, that building or Fort McHenry is still there, visible today. The flag is still there today, as you can look at the fort and you'll see the flag raised. There's a couple other things you mentioned, but I want to give it over to Apostle right now.
Yes, and I just want to say, Dr. Glenn, what a great encouragement, to hear that a 13-year-old helped to make the American flag. And you have to look at the fact that, back then they were coming out of slavery. There were a lot of people that were free, but they were still working on plantations, a lot of people. A lot of people were still, they had no way of making a living except they were hired help. And so I could definitely see how this 13-year-old had a great influence. And those ladies, they would show them and teach them how to sew. And the young teenagers as well, that were working on some of these plantations or in these houses as maids and different things. A lot of them, they still operated just like it did in slavery, but
Yeah.
they had to be paid.
But in this case, with Grace Wisher working for Mary Picker's Gill, she became an apprentice.
An apprentice where they taught her how to sew. Look, it says here, the forgotten contribution. Her essential labor went uncredited for centuries because she was a poor black girl, a status that rendered her invisible in official records and art. That's very sad to hear that she didn't get the credit concerning making this flag because of the fact of being poor and black when she was right in there sewing with the best of them, sewing with the rest of them, and probably had it showed there in that particular audio, it said that she sewed large portions of it, the flag, and that the place that they were living in, where they started it, it wasn't big enough, so they had to take it to a brewery and sew it there.
Yeah, because it was so large.
So that meant it was so large too that one person, that was a lot of work for one person. So
Even when they hoisted the flag at Fort McHenry, it took almost the entire military fort there to hoist it up the flagpole to fly.
that's a big flag. It said recognition today, museum acknowledgement, the Star Spangled Banner Flag House and the National Museum of American History now highlight her story,
Yeah.
adding a transparent ghost figure in the shape of a young black girl to the famous 1962 painting of the flag's creation to represent her.
And if I'm not mistaken, it's also an exhibit in the African American Museum of Natural History.
It says, symbol of erasure. Wisher's story highlights the often overlooked contributions of black women and girls to American history, demonstrating how societal inequality silences their vital work.
Yeah, with 1 minute to go before we go to the final break, I just want to mention there's more to talk about Black History 2026, because I definitely want to talk about the late and great Representative, the Honorable John Lewis, and his involvement with the Civil Rights Movement, and particularly Bloody Sunday. That was the march to Selma, Alabama, where the governor made a comment that treat them like a bunch of buzzards and just topple over them when the people were marching. Treat them like buzzards.
Definitely. We have that particular article, and I know we're not going to get to all of this because we're getting ready to come up on our last 10-minute segment, but we are going to have to do a part 2 on next week.
Definitely.
And we're going to kick off with the start of Black History, and we will do some things for Black History Month, and some specific, we'll highlight some people. And I just want to say to you, if you want to email and give us some ideas or something you may want to see or hear about on those particular shows, you can email Dr. Glenn and you can let us know.
Email me at Glenn, Glenn, Johnson Show at gmail.com. That's all one word, Glenn Johnson Show at gmail.com. We'll be happy to put your topic of discussion in the broadcast upon approval. Back in a moment.
Thank you for listening to the Awesome Radio Network. Visit us online, awesomeradionetwork.org. Choose the station you would like to listen to on the radio dial or online. Awesome Radio.
The Real Treasure Worship Event Center, a sacred, peaceful space designed for prayer, worship, and meaningful gatherings. More than just a venue, the Real Treasure is a living room to the city, a place to gather, rest, connect, and encounter God. Located at 410A Evans Street, downtown Greenville, please contact us at 252-412-3169 to set up an event.
Thank you for listening to the Awesome Radio Network. Visit us online, awesomeradionetwork.org. Choose the station you would like to listen to on the radio dial or online. Awesome Radio.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Glenn Johnson Show. Motivations with Glenn and Apostle Jacqueline Cullns Williams here on Awesome Radio, the Awesome Radio Network, 107.5 FM, 1570 AM, WECU, Winterville, Greenville, North Carolina. This is our final 10-minute segment. Here's Apostle Jacqueline Cullns Williams.
I just want to say, Dr. Glenn, I have to be honest with you that I did not know about this story of 13-year-old Gracer.
Yeah, Grace Wisher.
Yeah, and they said that she's represented on a lot of, when they represent her, they do it as a shadow person. Probably because they have no pictures of her.
Yeah.
But the other lady who's getting credit for the flag,
They got pictures of
they
her.
got pictures of her everywhere. I've
Of
seen
course.
her in the history book, but
Of
I didn't
course.
know about this Grace Wisher.
And speaking of Black history, could you put out that document for Awesome Radio, Miss Akila Thigpen, our owner here at Awesome Radio? It's Black history. She is the first African-American female in Pitt County to be 100% owner of a media network. She is third in the nation. She is third in the United States, while Apostle pulls that document out. Do you have it?
Yes,
Yeah,
I
that's
think
it.
it is here. Yes, and that is absolutely correct. We have a history maker, trailblazer.
She is a
And,
trailblazer.
That's what I call her, a trailblazer here amongst us right here in Pitt County. You don't have to go looking and digging in these old artifacts and finding things where we have walking, living, breathing history right here on Awesome Radio, right here in Greenville. And it says here that Akila Thigpen, the original, and this is talking about the studio and how it was launched here. And if you would like to get a copy of this particular document, you can, and it has the entirety. It says, was the first introduced to radio and started as a volunteer in WPNC in Plymouth, North Carolina. And this is how she got her start. But she owns it now here in Greenville. And this is one of our own history makers and trailblazers. And I believe that she is one of three, I believe it is, in the U.S.
She's third in the
Females,
nation, yeah.
number third to own a radio station in the U.S. There's a lot of men owning, but it's only three women, and she's one of them.
She's one of them. And she's up there with almost with Oprah Winfrey. Seriously. But I'm going to ask Miss Akita, she's probably listening. I'm going to ask her the document that you have, which is the document I have on my computer. That's a previous document that mentions 106.9, which we still have, but I'm going to ask her if she can update it to include 107.5 and 1570 AM.
Yes, because this would be an older document, but we just want to give her flowers and give her the recognition, while she lives. A lot of times people don't get honored till they're gone, but we have walking, living, breathing right here.
That's a
and we
previous-
need to give that honor to whom honor is due.
That's right. That's the previous document, but it's still relevant. It's still history today.
That's right. And also the door opener for us, for Dr. Glenn and for myself to be on the air with you right now.
We didn't get to this document, but I want to mention something that also our former vice president and former presidential candidate Kamala Harris mentioned, along with Michelle Obama. And I have a document that we'll get to next week. Slavery is white history. How we overcame it is black history.
Yes, Dr. Glenn, I literally have that in my hand. And
You
I
do.
was going to say that same statement, that it was very impressive here.
Look at the last page.
It says, slavery is white history. How we survived it is
It's
black
black
history.
history. Look at that last page.
On the last page.
Isn't that something?
Definitely. A picture of Kamala and Miss Michelle Obama, the president's wife, standing together.
first lady.
Slavery is white history, and apparently this is on a T-shirt that could be purchased. Slavery is white history. How we survived it is black history.
Because I think that is so true. We survived, at least our ancestors did. That's why I'm here today, because they survived.
Definitely, and we still have some effects of that. We're still trying to get over some things and some mindsets that were set on us back then. that sometimes people are still struggling with today.
Yeah, because like I was explaining to somebody just the other day, I am black history. I've been black all my life. And plus, my grandfather was an original slave, the late, great Reverend Wellington Johnson. His name was Wellington, but to make it short, people say, well done, Walton Johnson. That was my grandfather, a minister. So I am black history myself.
Definitely, and so am I. I am a descendant of the slaves.
Yeah.
And I have in our family, for our family reunion, they have a family history that is tracked it all the way back to slavery.
That's right.
And so we are the descendants of slaves, and we're here. You know, some people, they're in the U.S., they're black, they're not the descendants of slaves.
Yeah.
But we are Americans.
And before we go, I want to say black history is not just for African Americans or black. It's for everybody. Everybody to take part of because it just doesn't concern everybody. And everybody should observe Black History Month. Doesn't matter if you're Caucasian, you're Indian, you're this, you're that, you're red, you're green. It's for everybody to take observation of. Black history is American history.
And I want to say, especially in these school systems where there are a lot of black children, they need to be taught black history. There needs to be some curriculum that's dealing with black history. Dr. Glenn?
But did you know, and I have mentioned this one time before, if a Caucasian person immigrates to the United States, isn't that person African American? But people that from Africa don't want to be known as African American. They just want to be known as African.
Right, because we have the title of African American, so they don't want to associate with that.
That's right.
If they're not black.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, no, those are just people from Africa. They're not African American. We are the African American.
Because they're not American. Because they're not American.
Yeah, they're African. That just came to America.
They call me African. They're not African American.
Yeah, they
They're
don't want to be
just
known
African.
as that. They don't want to be known as that. So I'm just encouraging you, and those that are in these places that have churches and ministries, take some time to put together some things for Black History Month and get it out there for the kids and let the kids participate. Get the people up and get them stirred up. We have a lot. We're talking about 100 years commemoration of celebrating Black History Month. And that's a very powerful thing. Whenever anything is getting to be 100 years, I'm going to do a little study and maybe I'll bring back a few facts about 100.
Yeah, please email me.
We'll bring back some things and tell you how special it is and how significant it is to have something that's being celebrated for 100 years.
Okay, we have about 1.5 minutes remaining for the entire broadcast.
And I'm going to find out the color because there's always a color associated. What's the color this year?
Yeah, what's the color?
Yes, I'll definitely look.
Email me the cliffhanger for next week.
The cliffhanger about the birds.
About the bird,
Okay,
yeah.
we're going to look at the birds for next week. Hey, we want you to come on back here and look. We're going to learn something while we're on here. We're going to grow and we're going to continue to stretch out and we're going to be able to talk about these facts. You'll be able to go and tell them about black pepper and about these birds and about the Black history things, even the 13-year-old that we talked about today. Hey, we are so glad that you tuned in and we're going to see you right here next week. We're looking forward to seeing you right back here on next week so we can talk about those birds. Are they here because of the snow? Let's see if the Pepper Man is right.
The Pepper Man probably is right. I know he's right. And I've heard that before. They're snowbirds.
Dr. Glenn?
So please join us next week for part 2. And we'll have some other things for you as well. But if you have a show idea or topic, please don't hesitate to email me at glennjohnsonshow@gmail.com. Upon approval, we'll be sure to include it in our topic of discussion, Apostle Wood, in the broadcast.
Hey, we're going to see you on next week. We thank you so much for tuning in, and we thank you for listening. We even thank you for laughing with us because we know that we're going to have some laughter on this show. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we're looking forward to seeing you on next week. Next week, we're going to continue the Black History Facts, so we know that you need to be stirred up and excited about seeing us again here next week at 3 o'clock. Hey, this is the Glenn Johnson Show, Motivations with Glenn and Apostle Jacqueline Cullns Williams. We're going to see you next week. Bye-bye. This is Awesome
Thank
Radio.
you for listening to the Awesome Radio Network. Visit us online, Awesome Radio Network.